my name's Tiffany Piper, and I'm doing my project on old growth and the importance of old growth. This is my visual aid, and I will get back to that later, so I'm just going to put it up here for now until I need it again. This is my audience filming me. There's Ashley and Paige.
Hi.
Okay, so here we go. Alright, so who can tell me the importance of old growth?
No.
Okay. By becoming more knowledgeable on the role old growth forests play in our lives, history, and future, we can better understand what we are compromising by endangering them. So, three major things that affected by changes in old growth that I picked were animals, plants, and the climate. So first of all, I'm going to start with plants. Let's talk about these three things and why they depend on the history of old growth for their future, starting with plants. Typically, old growth forests are only considered old growth like after 150 years old. It can be anywhere between 100 and I guess like 100 plus years, but before 150 years old, they're still kind of considered young forests. So after 150 years old growth, and plants require mature forests. So the definition that I found that I like the best for old growth forests was they are forests that have accumulated specific characteristics related to tree size, canopy structure, snags, and woody debris, and plant associations. Ecological characteristics of old growth forests emerge through the process of succession. Certain features, presence of large old trees, multi-layered canopies, forest gaps, snags, woody debris, and a particular set of species that occur primarily in old growth forests do not appear simultaneously nor at a fixed time in stand development. Old growth forests support assemblages of plants and animals, environmental conditions, and ecological processes that are not found in younger forests. And the younger forests, younger than 150 to 250 years, or in small patches of large old trees. Specific attributes of old growth forests develop through forest succession until the collective properties of an older forest are evident. The best way to maintain the forest and prolong the life of certain plants the way we maintain them can benefit and prolong the life of certain plants and trees within these forests. So good ways to maintain them, clearly like there's a big issue around clear cutting, and sometimes that can be okay, but typically it's not. So the way we can maintain the forest is to do prescribed burnings only in certain tree patches, and that way it will control invasive species. We can also control exotic species and things that are going to take over the forests. We can watch out for damage by blowovers and different things like that. We can manage the stream, the certain zones next to the stream, so that we're taking care of all the wildlife and the salmon and all of those things, the vegetation in the streams. Cyanobacteria, which is a really important thing too with the plants, is something that's associated with the mosses that grow. A while ago they could only study the mosses on the ground, and then they realized that with the bigger trees, that's why the bigger trees in the old growth forests are so important, is because they were studying the mosses that went up the trees and out on the branches. And then the cyanobacteria, which was part of that, is this really awesome thing that works to give the plants, it benefits the plants by taking the nitrogen from the atmosphere and helping out the plants. So that's a process called nitrogen fixation, and without the cyanobacteria and without the big huge trees growing, that wouldn't happen. So it's like a domino effect. So you need the big tall trees, you need the moss, you need all of that in order for that to happen. As we know, everything is connected, so to say that one would work without the other is an obvious falsehood. Animals need the plants, and plants need animals. So animals. Old growth forests home many animals. One is the northern spotted owl, and they're an endangered species. And they typically live in old growth around the snags, or if a branch falls off the tree, they kind of take over that as their home. And they like really thick limbs under the canopies to protect, the chicklets and everything from rain and any other predators, and they like the big branches so that those can support their nesting habits. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a question?
I was just saying 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Anyway, detrimental effects to the habitat when logged or disturbed. That's also something that can impact the animals. The coho salmon are another living thing in the forest that is endangered by logging and by taking away the old growth. And they live in the streams, and when people are logging, they're uprooting and eroding the soil, and so then it goes into the runoff and it's breaking down their habitat and their lives. So they are endangered as well. Finally, our climate affects us in every way possible, and we all need oxygen and reasonable temperatures to sustain life. Mature forests can help combat climate change. So many old forests tend to be underlain by permafrost soils, which can contain many times more carbon than stored in the vegetation. So melting those soils is an ongoing climate calamity. And the trees hold in a lot of the carbon. They take a lot of that out of the atmosphere, but then again, when people are logging or deforestation is occurring or whatever is going on, that is putting it back out into the atmosphere. And so it's kind of like a give and take. The forest is helping, but then we're putting it back out. And so that's another reason, like, why when we have the soil and we have everything that's holding all this in, and so without that, it's just not going to help us at all. Let's see. Also, the carbon emissions from logging, just with all the fumes and the burning, and prescribed burning is fine, but doing a lot of burning all at once, that's also going to put a lot of toxins out into the air, and that's hurting us and the animals. Animals, plants, and the climate all play vital roles in the chain of life and are invaluable. If untouched or maintained properly, old growth will ensure protection for all three. So, once again, plants, animals, and the climate are all very reliant on old growth forests, as are many other things, and we're still learning a lot about them, but if we continue to just have them logged or cut, or we're not at least managing them in a responsible way, things are going to get worse and worse and worse, and they're already heading that direction, but we can make it better. So here is my visual aid, and I have here a couple pictures of the northern spotted owl right here, and these are both in the old growth forests on their limbs. Here is a map, different maps of what old growth forests where they're located, and you can see they were a lot more in 1620, I guess. And then slowly they're just starting to deteriorate, and there's almost nothing left. So it's kind of sad. And then here is damage caused to the scene by logging and soil erosion, and you can just see there's absolutely nothing left, and it's lost really good. When we're knowledgeable on the role old growth forests play in our lives, history, and future, we can better understand what we are compromising by endangering them. After exploring the importance of the rare old growth forest and the shelter, habitat, protection, and life it provides for all of us, we can understand why we need to maintain them, protect them, and allow them to grow and flourish so that hopefully over time they will not just be referred to as something rare in our minds.
Yay!